Hi everyone, I am Dr. Susie from Dr. Susie Sweets. I'm super excited to go live with you today. I'm hoping everything is going well. All right, I'm getting my screens ready so I can try and see comments. I'm super excited to be here today. I am new. I'm a new instructor for the group. So we're going to do something fun today. I know last night, Debbie from Icing Images talked to you a lot about their blue printers. She also showed you some sugar reels and all of that kind of stuff. So today we are going to create this amazing three-dimensional Cheshire Cat sweet shop. And every single thing is made with the blue printer. So we're going to go through everything step by step, and I'm going to teach you all how to do it together. So, hi Melinda. Hopefully I can see comments as things pop up, but I know you have questions as we go along the way. I will make sure that I go back and I answer all your questions. Before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I am Dr. Susie. I actually do have my doctorate in education. I'm an educator. Cookies are my second full-time job, I call it. It used to be my side gig, but now it's become sort of my second full-time job. I am in education, as I said. I was a teacher, an elementary school principal, and now I am the director of human resources for a school district in Irvine, California. So I have lots of busy times in my regular job, but cookies are my happy place. I'm sure I call it my place of cookie joy. So I've been doing cookies for about 6 years now. I do custom cookies, I teach classes, and then I also own a digital image and cookie cutter shop online. Every cutter and every digital design today, these are all the cutters that we're going to use. Oh, just dropped one. These are all the cutters we're going to use. Everything at the end, I'll give you a code and you can go on my shop and you can get everything for free. So it'll all be located on my shop and I have that for you. So I also have a cookie society. It's called Dr. Susie's Sweet Cookie Society on Patreon. And once a month, I put out 6 digital images and all the STL files that go with them. And then I usually have a surprise interactive set that I give to all of you. So I see, oh, thank you, Kathy, for putting up my website. I appreciate that. Good morning. I see people are coming on. Kelly's coming on. Connie, thank you for saying hello. So I am going to move the camera around a lot today. I'm going to use it to show overhead decorating. And then I'm also going to move it to go over and show you all the printing and everything we're going to do on the blue. I have not done a live all by myself on my iPhone, so you'll have to be patient with me as I go through things. So I'm going to, I think, change my phone to the view. Hopefully I can do this. There's my camera switch. All right, so you can see my whole work area. We're gonna get busy. I'm gonna put my camera here so you can see my workspace. We're gonna come down. These are the 3 cookies that we are going to flood first. So this is actually my strawberry pink peppercorn recipe, which is super yummy. And it's free on my shop. So if you go to my freebies hub every month, I put out freebies for all of you. And you get free stuff, free recipes. I love to share with the cookie community. I think it's important that we care for one another and share. So if there's ever anything that you need help with or a recipe or something that you're looking for, let me know and I'm happy to share it with you. So this is our base. This is the actual frame of the cookie. We have the sign and we have the Cheshire Cat. All of that is cookie. And then the rest is either an icing sheet that I got from Icing Images or it's royal icing transfers. So we're gonna flood first. And I'm gonna cut my flood bag pretty big. It's hard to see through the camera, but I'm gonna cut it and I'm not gonna cut over the cookies. So I'm gonna show you. So I cut it about that big. So I want it pretty good size, and this is a really loose flood. So I'm gonna go ahead, and when I flood, I don't always flood to the edge, because when I have a really loose flood, I'm afraid it's gonna go over the edge of the cookies. So I sort of use my scribe to sort of push everything. So once I kind of do that initial outline, I give it a good heavy squeeze. And I'm just gonna fill in the space. And again, I'm one of those people that doesn't flood exactly. Part of it is because I like to precisely put things with my scribe, and I find my scribe to be very therapeutic because, you know, for me, cookies are wellness because I deal with all sorts of things in my job. Cookies are wellness. So I'm gonna give it a good heavy squeeze all the way around. And then I'm gonna use my scribe to sort of pull that icing into place. And if I have something like this that goes over the edge, it's okay, I'll clean it up at the end. So again, I'm doing a good swirl. I'm just touching the surface of the icing when I'm moving that icing around. Anything on the bottom that I got too heavy, I just sort of scrape off with the back of my scraper. I'm being very messy right now because I'm not at the perfect spot with where my camera is. Anyway, I'm on a swivel. I love using a cookie swivel, and in the center I'm using a Silo mat from Silly Solutions. Holds my cookie in place, especially a big cookie like this with a hole in the middle. So I'm just sort of lightly kind of moving the icing, just the surface of the icing to quickly move the icing around. Like I said, it's a super, super loose flood. I don't need to get tons of icing on there because I am going to put it under the printer and the whole icing is going to be covered with a print. So I'm not really worried about if it's messy. These are the best kind of cookies because you don't have to worry about if it's messy because everything's going to get covered up. People can't hear me? Okay, I'm glad Kelly can hear me. All right, wasn't worried. So again, I'm moving that around, not worrying about too much about how messy it is. I can try to put my headphones on if people are having trouble hearing me. Again, I'm just covering every area. I am going to print, as I said, over this. Okay, glad Michelle can hear me now. And like I said, it's kind of messy on the sides, but you can clean that all up with your scribe. So you're just going to get it good and covered. And I'm going to pop this in the dehydrator. Move that one out of the way. You don't have to have your cookies completely dry when you print on them. Icing images, sorry, I'm a neat freak. Icing images, blue printers will print on slightly crusted over. It'll print on wet. It'll print on completely dry. So it doesn't have to be completely dry when you go to print on it. So, all right, this is our little Cheshire Cat sign. So again, just a quick, easy flood. And like I said, I kind of go, because it's super loose, I sort of go close to the edge. And then I use my scribe and my swivel to sort of just circle motions, push it on top of the cookie. And on that way, I'm just pushing it towards the edge. Again, I like to do this technique because I can really get the icing into small places. And it allows for me, in my preference, exact placement of the icing. And like I said, when you use a really, really loose flood, it's easy to pull. I use a Franken frosting. My recipe's free on my shop. And I use Susan Triano's Fluff and Stuff meringue powder. And I find by doing a Franken frosting and using Susan's meringue powder, I get a really, really good elastic icing that has a lot of play with it. And I find that it does take, it's really easy to move the icing around the cookie. So let's do the last one, which is the Cheshire Cat. Again, not quite going to the edge because it's super loose. Give it a good squeeze to fill it up. And then I use my scribe and my swivel to sort of just lightly on the top, circle motions to pull that icing to the edge. I try to go slow when I'm teaching these classes, but I get so excited that I get going fast. So if I go too fast, tell me, slow down, Susie, and I will slow down. All of these are designs that I made myself, but basically what I do is I create a sketch first, and then I put my sketch into AI, and AI actually helps me define my sketch, and then I take it back out of AI and I put it on my iPad, and I use Procreate, and I sort of finalize designs. I have lots of tutorials on my YouTube channel on how to use AI to generate images and how to get ideas. So you're welcome to go to my YouTube channel also and get information there. So there's our last cookie. So this set, as I said, was 3 simple cookies. We had the frame, we had the cat, and then we had the sign. One thing, we're going to print on all of these, and I'm going to show you the difference. This is a printed cookie that we're going to get to, and I'm going to show you how to print that on the blue. But sometimes I will take my printed cookies, and I'll use that as my base, and I'll actually then ice with that as my template. So this is actually a cookie where I've taken the Cheshire Cat. I put some white icing over the face and the eyes, and then I reprinted it. So that's how I got the face on it. And then I just went with royal icing and I went right over. So there's so many options that you can use with your printer. You don't necessarily have to keep it as printed, but I'm going to show you how to do all that today. So anyway, let's kind of move over to the printer. So hopefully I don't make you seasick as we travel. I'm going to wash my hands. I saw that my hands were messy. All right, here we go. We're going on a field trip in my shop to my printer. All right. It is an incredible machine. I know Deb talked with all of you yesterday about the blue, and today we're going to kind of talk about how to use it to make something really cool. So I do have the big blue because I wanted the bigger print bed, but today we're going to make some royal icing transfers. First, we're going to do lots of things, but I'm going to try and see if I can get you a little bit closer. There we go. All right. So the great thing about the blue is you create templates, and templates are on paper, and it doesn't take a lot of ink to print your template. But the great thing about it is it has a flat bed. And so with a flat bed, you can do all sorts of things. I can print multiple designs and multiple shapes at one time. I can do transfers. I printed on a beer. You can print on macarons, cupcakes, cakes. This will go down and I can print on a half sheet of a cake. But today, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you royal icing transfers. So what I did is I just took an 8x10 cello sheet and I'm putting it down here on top of the print. I am going to tape it down a little bit. And the reason I tape it down is so that it doesn't whirl away from me. And I just use painter's tape. And I'm going to put it on this side too. And I'm actually going to pipe. I'm using a piping consistency, kind of a loose piping consistency icing. Here's a quick tip. I always put blue tags on all of my piping consistencies. One of the reasons why I do that is because when I'm teaching and I have multiple colors of an icing in a set, it helps my students know which ones are piping and which ones are flood. And I also use it so when I put my bags in the freezer and store them, I know which ones of my icings are piping and which ones of them are flood. So it helps me stay organized and it helps my students stay organized. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over each of these, and I'm just going to quickly outline and flood, and you're going to have to be patient with me as I do these. I always do multiples when I'm doing transfers because I know eventually one may break, but I'm just kind of outlining and filling in, flood. I like to use one consistency with my icing, so I'm not having to do a separate outline and a separate flood. And when I do a looser piping, I can just kind of jiggle the icing with my scribe, or boo-boo stick, as I like to tell my students. And it just really just flattens out. So I always do the top row first so that I don't drag my hand across it as I'm doing others if I went all the way down the row. And I'm just very simply filling in just the exact spaces. The reason I use sort of a loose piping is I do want that icing to stay in place. I don't want it flooding over the whole paper. So, like I said, just kind of wiggle it a little bit so it sort of evens out and smooths out. I love using printed royal icing transfers because it's a super, super easy way to add amazing details to cookies. And because you're printing them, you can do really intricate designs, normally things that I may not be able to flood or pipe myself. So customers really like it because I can do a royal icing transfer of maybe their face, and then I put it on an astronaut body or things like that. So it's a great way to add personalized detail if you want to add personalized detail, but it's also a nice way to get some really intricate designs onto a cookie to sort of elevate it. I know some people don't like royal icing transfers because they're crunchy, but I actually find if you don't do too many of them, sometimes a little crunch on a cookie is a good thing. All right. Again, and sometimes too, if I notice if I didn't reach an edge or a spot, I just sort of push that icing with the scribe to kind of make it to the point. Some of these are a little pointy. If I find that there's an area that's sort of low or needs to be filled, then I can squeeze a little more icing into it so it makes the whole thing nice and fluffy. Looks like my husband, I don't know if you could hear that, but his motorcycle just started. Looks like he's like, peace out, I'm out. I'm going on a motorcycle ride. Make sure you ask your questions in the comments, and then I will go back and I will answer those questions for you. At the very end, I will also send you links to my shop, and I'll send you that coupon code to get 100% off all of the digital designs and the STL files. If you don't have a 3D printer, that's okay. You can message me, and I do also print cookie cutters, so you can message me and I can print a set for you as well. And for this, all you would have to do is pay shipping, since I'm giving it to everybody for free. I don't know why I did 3 of these, but 3 sounded like a good number. I always work at 3s and 5s. I think Amy works in 3s and 5s too. Prime numbers. Sometimes if you find it's not smoothing out, just wipe off the tip of your scribe, because sometimes that icing will collect on your scribe, which prevents it from smoothing out. These more have a point, so I might use my scribe to sort of drag out the tips to a point. Like I said, my blue is super versatile. Some people have their bed lower. My bed's pretty high. That's why I'm standing on a stool to do this, because I like a lot of storage underneath. It looks like a big machine, but it's really not. It fits really nicely in the corner of my workshop. They have bigger ones. I wish I had a bigger one because I'm finding I use it quite a bit. But they also have a littler one. It's called a Lil Blue. And it's called a Mini, actually. And it fits on a countertop. And pretty portable. We were at CookieCon and we actually took it upstairs to our mixer and we made it into a photo booth, which was pretty fun. So the Mini can kind of be on your on-the-spot thing. I don't think I would take this in my car, take it to a wedding for a photo booth. That might kill me. All right. So like I said, the blue can print on slightly crusted over. It can print on wet. We're obviously going to print on wet icing. And then I have some cookies already printed, so we're going to print on dry icing, and you'll be able to kind of see the difference. But it does really good, vibrant prints. Pretty much any color you can think of, it can print because it uses ink instead of an ink cartridge. So it's CMYK ink, so you can really meet any color. There's my last one. All right, so once you have your transfers flooded, I'm going to lower the bed. I don't have to lower it so much. Let's see. It's really easy to move the print head. The print head is what you move to sort of tell it where to level it so that you don't have a crash on your piece. So what I just did was your print head goes down and up and it goes side to side. So from going down to up, you sort of adjust the height so it'll fit the height of your product. It just needs to be within a small margin of between sizes. Right now these are pretty uniform. I'm going to pull it in a little bit because I want to make sure that I get make sure the print head is on all of them exact. So that's kind of what you do. You sort of move the print head in. It looks like it's not going to hit anything. So we're going to go ahead and print the transfers. There you go. I'm going to have you watch that. So you can see it's pretty quick, and the details on the transfers are pretty good. I'm going to try and put it right over the head for you so you can see that. So there's no way that I could actually draw all of those things at one time and put them as detail on a cookie. So it's a really nice way to get quick and easy details onto your cookies. And it didn't take us long to pipe them and then print them. So how I get the transfers off, as you know, transfers take a while to dry. So I did make some last night so we can continue working. But what I do is I just take a cake board and I just touch this and I sort of just put it right underneath. And then it hasn't squished any of them or caused any problems. None of them buckled or folded. And then I just pop this into the dehydrator. And typically I dry my royal icing transfers overnight and then kind of use them the next day. So very quick and easy way to get good, high quality details, some fun details that you can add onto your cookies. So that's the royal icing transfers for our set. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to print the background of the cookie. So I'm going to go ahead and take this template off. So I have another template underneath. Dun, da, da, da. And that's the template to print all of the cookies. But I'm going to do the background first. And the background I'm actually going to print. Sorry, I'm opening my package. The background I'm actually going to print, we can do it one of two ways. We can actually print it on a cookie or we can print it on an icing sheet. This is an icing sheet from Icing Images. They smell so good and they taste good. This is actually a thin one. They have thins and I like the thin ones for cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. I don't necessarily have to tape this. I can. I'm just going to tape it because I'm doing a live and I would hate for it to buckle. Normally I just sit it right on the print bed and I put the print bed all the way back up and I just print with it. So we're going to go ahead and print the background to our image. I'm going to go ahead and print that. So that's on the icing sheet. The printer head needs to go through the entire bed. That's why it's pausing right now. It's saying, okay, anything else to print? Anything else to do? And then it says no. One of the things about Icing Images is they have you name your printer. My printer is called Cindy Lou Blue. Of course, seemed to fit. All right, so then I just take the tape off. Since I'm not using that part of the icing sheet, it doesn't matter that it was taped on. And you can see it printed our background that we're going to use on the back of our cookie. You can print this design, and I did include a second one. You can print that design and put just an icing sheet behind the window, or we can print one actually on the back of a cookie. That's what we're going to do right now. In your set, I included a back cookie as well. That's just in case you wanted something more dimensional. So let's do this. So again, when we're doing with cookies, because this bed is all the way up, I'm gonna have to bring it down. I'm gonna bring it in. The newer machines are quieter, by the way. I wish mine was a little quieter, but it works just the same. I've had my machine for about 3 years now, and I haven't had any problems with it. As long as you use it regularly, you don't really get any issues with ink issues or anything. I like to go on the edge and get mine really close. There we go. So like I said, it's super versatile, super easy to use. Let's see, background with cookie. All right, let's see if this works. Pull it off because it stopped. But you can see it just printed on the back. So if I wanted to just put this whole cookie set on top, have it more three-dimensional, decorate it a little more dimensionally, you can. Kind of showing you the difference. Not a whole lot of difference between the quality and everything like that. This was dry icing and this is the icing sheet. We're going to use the icing sheet today, but I wanted you to see that you can actually do both. So I'm going to bring this out. Now we're going to work on the actual parts of the cookie. So we have 3 different designs. When I create my templates, I always make sure I kind of do an outline so I know where to place my cookie. So I'm going to actually place my cookie right on the template like that. And then I have 2 more. So I have the Cheshire Cat. And then the Cheshire Cat sign. So again, every time I put new cookies on the set, especially since I have 3 different cookies on the bed, I always make sure that I level it or make sure that the print head is not going to knock something off. And I just do that by eyeballing it. I bring the print head over. The reason I didn't have to bring the print bed down, that looks pretty good. And I kind of run it back and forth. And then I bring the print bed in. Sometimes I'm not perfectly flat when I do things, so kind of run the print head over that, making sure it's not going to hit anything. It's not a big deal if it does. There's ways that you can clean it, but when you're on a live and you make the print head crash, you get really, really, really embarrassed. So I'm going to change my details. That's what we're going to do. We're going to hit print. So like I said, this is a 6-inch cookie. For those of you that may not have a blue, I did create for this set, and I have both options on the site, but I did create a 4.5-inch set for those of you that may not have a print bed this big. but I do like to make big cookies. If I wanted to, I could print across the entire bed if I wanted. Sometimes I'll do puzzle cookies and I'll place a bunch of squares all the way across the entire print bed and print a whole design across the squares or hexagons or whatever shapes you put on there. And it can do multiple designs and multiple shapes and multiple sizes all at one time. Plus the colors are so vibrant. And it gives you a really good black and true purples and pinks. And I think that's always harder when things are mixing colors to get those true blacks, purples, and pinks. I'm gonna move this closer so you can actually see what's happening. We're going to kind of work with all that detail too and do some fun things with it, not just leaving it printed, so I can show you how to bougie up a printed cookie, but it really gives you a nice foundation. One thing I really like about the blue, like I said, was it just allows you to print so nicely on custom shapes. I mean, it hit all those corners and all those details. You can even see with the cat, I mean, it hit every edge really nicely, and it fits so nicely on the cookies. So I find if you are going to do printed cookies, making them custom shapes really elevates them, and customers really see the value in that. So those are our 3 shapes. We're going to go put this all together now. So let me get these off the print bed, put them in the dehydrator. When I'm going to, and I'm going to take you on another field trip. Here we go. Sorry, I hope I don't make you motion sick. Here's my cute little shop. You can see my cute little shop as we go along. All right, we're back over here. Doesn't take long for my images to dry. I put them in the dehydrator for a few minutes, and then after they're in the dehydrator for a few minutes, I do clean that up. I do put them under a tower fan overnight, and then in the morning I just simply cornstarch them. And after I've cornstarched them and dust them, then I just put them in a cello bag. I use Miss Cookie packaging cello bags. And once they're in the cello bag, they'll stay fresh 7 to 10 days in that bag. So, all right, so here are all of our pieces. I have the frame that we did. Here's our cat. Here's our Cheshire sign. I'm actually going to use the icing sheet for the background, and we're going to put it all together. So I'm going to actually use that piping consistency that we used before to sort of put everything together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the icing sheet. I keep scissors separate. These are I call them my edible scissors, so I keep them in a separate place in my workshop, so it only cuts edible items. As soon as I see my husband cutting something that's not edible, then I get a new pair of scissors. So he's very good about not using my scissors because he doesn't want to buy me a new pair. Icing sheets do come with a plastic backer. You do peel that off in order to use the icing sheet. I'm going to keep it on today just for stability, but if I were, and I'm not going to eat this cookie, but if I were going to give this cookie or sell this cookie, I would make sure that I take that plastic off, and it does make it very pliable. I know Jen yesterday used icing sheets on the cake, and she showed you how easy it was to use them and how thin they were. So they can be used for so many different things. I'm just going to go ahead and put some icing all around the sides like this. And then I'm going to decide where I want my scene to be. And anything that's not right, I'll trim. So I've got it kind of stuck down like that. Okay, so I can see I'm going to cut these edges off. All right. Cut off the corners. So you can see it. All right. A little bit more icing here on the edge. Put some on my cookie, just kind of right here. And then I'm going to make it just like that. Like I said, I do have this cookie. You could put the cookie directly on it, and then it's more dimensional, but I'm not going to do that today. All right, so we have our scene in place. Oh yes, don't worry, Kelly. I'm going to go back to the blue. I'm going to leave my blue on because we have another project with the blue. Don't worry. So we're going to put that in place. All right, so now we're going to add some transfers. We have 3 transfers for this set. We have the cookie jar, we have the drink me, eat me, and then we have this sign. When I work with royal icing transfers, and it looks like that's not sticking, so I'm gonna have to do something different. Hold on, give me a minute. Probably because I used, there we go. All right, there, that's better. Hold on. There. It's cooperating a little bit better. All right. Cool. All right, I'm going to set this over there for a minute. When I work with my royal icing transfers, if I want to peel them off, for me, I find the best thing to do is I turn it upside down and I just peel. That way, I know some people use a palette knife, but I just place them straight up and down. And I keep them flat on the table, and then I just peel them off. And I find that less chance of breakage, and I can use them. None of them really break that way. So that's just a little trick. I'm gonna bring our little thing back over. So the drink me, eat me is kind of over here on this side. Sort of fits on this edge. And a little more this way, I think. There we go. And then this is sort of kind of like here. Let me do it down. And then I think we did, I like this one better. We did this right about here. Kind of fits there. And then our cat kind of is above. Let's see. I think I'll do him like this. So we'll kind of do it like that. I think that looks good. All right, let's glue everything down. So I'm going to do this first. I know we lose those cute little flowers, but that's okay. We're going to juice it up a little bit. So I've got that solid. I'm going to do this one about here. So this one is going to be solid. It's kind of sitting on the thing. Yep, that's a good tip with the acetate. Yes, a schmear. Kelly, thank you. All right. And let's see, let's kind of put a little bit here. So you can see it takes a really long time to get this cookie together. Super long time. Just kidding. So Selling this like in a pop-up shop as a feature cookie is definitely something that's worth it at a pop-up shop. You could sell this for good money. If you're worried about the color of the inside of the icing before you put everything on, you could put some brown icing and you could paint around the edges if you wanted all the edges to be similar. So now that I have my cookie all set up, I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to move this more center, I think, and I'll come down a little bit so you can see. So he's pretty cute. You could leave it just like this and keep it just like that, or you can choose to sort of zhuzh it up a little bit, which I'm going to do with this. So I have some piping consistency green. Okay, so I just did a piping consistency green. I use AmeriColor, and this was a mix of a little bit of avocado and a little bit of cypress. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my piping consistency, and I'm just sort of outlining the vines. I'm going to outline this vine too. I'm going to come back to those. I'm going to do a vine here. Let's see. There's some grass tufts down here, some little grass. So I might add some little details here. And this is your typical piping consistency, so it will hold its shape. And it's not so stiff that it would smooth out. Let's see, let's do some vines here. And again, that cookie becomes sort of your place to trace. So it makes it really easy to add the details in because you're really just going over what's already there. Again, adding a vine here. So just adding some vines. Let's see. Oh, there's some more up here. I would put this on my cookie swivel, but because the icing's still wet on that sheet, I'm not going to. So excuse me for not being able to see that. All right, so I kind of have my vines where I want. Now I want to do leaves. I'm going to use a more stiff consistency. And I'm using a tipless bag. I like to work with tipless bags because I can make the opening any size that I want. I'm actually going to do a leaf shape one. So basically, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to put a piece of paper over my cookies so I don't get something over it. So you can see a little bit better. But I take that line and I make sure that the piping bag is flat on that line. And then I'm just going to do a slight little cut into the line and another one into the line like this, and it sort of makes this little beak. That's the little teeny tiny beak. And then when you turn it over, that's how you're going to get your leaf shape. So basically, let's do a leaf shape here. Just kind of, and my piping consistency or my leaf shape. Oops, I see a vine I missed right here. Basically, you can make your leaves as big as or as small as you like. So I'm just going to use that. Basically, I'm just kind of push in and sort of wiggle and pull. Makes all these little leaves. And just sort of add them in different places here. There's some here. I'm going to do a bunch of these kind of coming out of the door to give it some dimension in different directions. These are this way. This is interesting. I'm piping in a different direction, but it doesn't seem to be more matter. So again, just sort of using that illustration to sort of add some depth. And you don't have to do this. You could actually just use the cookie just the way that it is. But sometimes it sort of adds or elevates to add a little bit of these pipe details with the print. And you can leave some of the print below it going and just use it for depth, you know, to give it some dimension. Add some over here. I'm doing this left-handed. This is kind of interesting. And again, adding some up here. And then again, I'll add some here. Some of them I'm going to keep, so it just sort of looks layered. Let's see. Add some here, little ones. So just sort of add some depth to it, keeping some of the printing going and then adding a little frosting. You can charge more for all this upsell. All right, so we've done our leaves. Let's kind of zhuzh up the flowers a little bit. So again, piping consistency with the pink. So I'm going to add some do every other one for now because I want it to dry a little bit. Well, that was fun. Hold on. Are you back? All right, well, I just broke that. That was fun. Good thing we make more than one. Let's just add this guy back in. We'll use this guy now. See? Recovered. All is well. Look at that. All right, did it smushed a couple of the leaves? So let's go fix a couple of the leaves up top. That was a good time. But the good news is nothing really fatal. Just a couple little places. Not bad. Good recovery. All right, so we did that. Let's do some pink flowers down here, and I'll be more careful with where I put my icing bag. And I might even do one here. Again, because I'm using a piping consistency, I can kind of use right next to each other. Go back and fill these in. And let's do some purple. Let's do this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Make it so you can see. You can even leave these undone and just do the leaves for depth if you wanted. But it's kind of fun to add the dimension. Let's see, there's several purple ones here. A couple purple ones here. And we don't have to do all of them. And then let's fill them in with the yellow. Doing okay for time, I think. Nice. Just kind of fill it in. And you could add more of the flowers, but it just kind of adds a little bit of depth to the cookie. I'm going to bring it a little closer so you can see it. I'll make it a little more centered, a little closer. So you can see that you can leave it just painted. You can use the icing to add different detail. You can do all sorts of things with this. And it's a really, really easy cookie to put together, and it's a really, really easy cookie to sell. And so, and then if you wanted to, once it dries, you could go back and you could paint the edges. Anyway, so that's just a fun cookie to do. So that's the whole set cookie, but I have another option that I want to show you, something else. And I think Deb kind of talked about this yesterday. So I'm going to talk about this other cookie, and it may not take me the whole 30 minutes, but I'll talk about this one as well. This is a companion cookie that I created. And this is a companion cookie that I did to create a sugar reel. And I know Deb talked with you yesterday about sugar reels. And sugar reels are very interactive cookies that sort of play a video. So it just brings a cookie to life in a new way. I'm very much about creating interactive cookies or ways to engage with people. So this is actually a QR code. I know she had you guys do QR codes yesterday, but I'm going to try something today. I'm going to move my cookie out of the way. And I'm going to bring my iPad into the screen. Hopefully this will work. But basically, with your camera, you scan the QR code. Hopefully I can find the QR code. There it is. So I'm scanning the QR code on my iPad. And I've opened the AR experience. And I'm going to turn, hold on, I'm going to turn my Ring camera off so you can see this better. Alexa, turn off office lights. There, I think now you can see the screen better. So I'm going to open it, and when I open it, it is looking, and I'm going to bring the cookie over here. It is looking for this cookie. There it is.
Well. Ordinary cookies are so yesterday. With sugar reels, your treats magically come to life with personalized videos. Birthdays, weddings, celebrations, you dream it, Sugar Reels brings it to life. Scamper over to sugarreels.com and start creating edible magic today. Well.
So it plays it on a loop, which is pretty cool. And once you play it and it's open, your guests or whomever can play it over and over and over again.
Sugarreels.com and start creating edible magic today.
Alexa, turn on office lights. There we go. Alexa and I are buddies. I'm going to turn this back on. Anyway, this simple cookie comes to life. So you use this coordinating QR code. It connects to this image. And then with this QR code, basically ties everything together. It ties the image and the video to that QR code. So you can create anything. Yesterday, I'm showing my age now, but yesterday I attended my 40th high school reunion, and I actually took 4 different images, and I scanned the yearbook in 4 different sections, and I actually created a video that played on each separate image. So if someone got all 4 cookies, they could scan through our entire yearbook. And I coordinated it with music, and I did it in CapCut. It's really easy to do things like that in CapCut. Created the video and made it personalized. So as someone who offers sugar reels as a product, you can do personalized videos like that, where they give you the images, and then you can use a program like CapCut, and you can create the videos for them. Of course, I would charge them for that service. Or your customer can give you a pre-made video, and you can edit the video, make sure that it fits on the circle cookie, and you can again do that in CapCut. How you do that in CapCut is you make it kind of smaller if the image is too close to the camera. Or like I did with this one, I actually used a video generation program, and I created AI. So I took my Cheshire Cat character. Sorry, this little piece of tape is bothering me. Cheshire Cat character, and I put it into AI, and I created an animated video. I used a program called Kling AI, and I gave it a prompt. I actually used Chat GPT to help me create the prompt. I kind of talked to Chat GPT like it was my assistant, saying, I have this cute Cheshire Cat cookie that I want to animate. These are the things that I want it to say. I want to use Kling AI to animate this character. I want it to be a 1-to-1 ratio because you want it in a square. It's easier to work on a square with a cookie. And then it created a prompt for me that I could use in Kling AI, and Kling AI made this video for me. So there are so many ways that you can use these sugar reels. It's just incredible. Basically, all you have to do is you just create the image, and an image can be like you saw some of them that Deb did earlier. An image can be just a logo. So for corporate logos, an image can be something that you create. For example, here are all my different images. This was one I think she showed you yesterday that played a patriotic video. This was one I think that she showed you that was part of a contest. I did this one, which was just my corporate logo, and I actually videotaped myself. Let's see if I can get this one to play for you. I actually you can print a QR code exactly on a cookie, and you can see I use Chewa mats, and it prints just fine on those cookies if you use Chewa mats. So let me see if I can get my iPad back out, because I want to show you an actual video of someone talking. So let me see. So I'm going to scan the QR code, hopefully. Open the experience. Hold on, let me open the experience first. Hold on, I have to end that other experience. Open my camera, scan the QR code. Okay, I've opened my AR experience. It's now looking for that cookie. Alexa, turn off office lights. I want you to see this better. Let's see, there it is, it found it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Susie, and I have access to Sugar Reels technology that allows me to make the cookies far more interactive. Imagine a personalized video and live cookies through my AR experience. Perfect for graduations, weddings, and corporate events. It's yours now. Visit my website, drsusiesweets.com.
So that's just something that I videotaped myself. And I sent that out as a marketing cookie to local vendors so that they could see that I had this as an option. It showed them that I could actually record something. This was one that when I teach a cookie class, I'll show you this one. Hopefully, yeah. This one's a little bit better. I'm gonna open the AR experience. Just flip the cookie over. I hope it works in the bag. Okay, so let me put it forward so you can see it. All right, hopefully.
Thank you so much
There.
for cooking with me today. I hope you had as much fun as I did and learned a few sweet new tricks along the way. I can't wait to see you in another class soon. Until then, keep spreading cookie joy.
So then I just gave that as a thank you cookie for each of my students. And it showed them as students that, hey, you cookied with me. This is another option that I can do for my cookies. So it was a nice way to market my cookies, to show that I had this ARPs. Basically on the site, and I know they went over pricing with you, but I could, I bought a certain set, but I can renew it each month. So if I wanted to keep using this same cookie and this same image, then I just have a small little renew fee and I can keep that video active. Because the way that it works is once you have your event, you have about 30 days that video stays active, that your clients can use. But you're not stuck with just those 30 days. You can actually extend it, so you're not just stuck with that. So I'm going to take us over because I just wanted to show you this, and I want to print one for you. So we're going to go back to my blue. That's why I didn't turn it off, Kelly. And you'll see that I have this cookie here. I just want to show you how easy it is to create these sugar reels. So basically you can see I have my blank sugar cookie. Again, I'm going to move, yep, that looks pretty good. So these cookies, I just recently did an order for Yamava Casino. I had to do 300 logo cookies for them. And basically I just used Susan Triano's meringue powder and followed her technique. And I just dipped all these cookies. So super easy to dip cookies and then print on them. These are actually dry, but I'm gonna go ahead and print this. Let's see. Here's AR cookie. Alexa, turn on office lights. It just needed a minute to think. This kind of works like a CNC. So it knows, hey, I'm not going to print anything on the front of this print bed because it's not part of this template, but I know that this template in the back. Now, mind you, you could put it right there on the front and it'll print right away, but I wanted to have a lot of things printed at the same time and only create one template. So by doing it this way, I could do multiple designs in multiple places, and print bed knows exactly where to go. That's it. So super quick, super easy. You can see the text is super clear. I always, it's right now the technology is available on a circle shape. This is actually a 3-inch circle shape. And that's really what I offer for clients. It's a good size cookie. It allows me to have good profit margins. I'm in California. I charge $6 a cookie for this experience. And corporations do pay for that. They don't kind of blanch at it because they are getting something that's personalized and something that is good for their marketing. So they're willing to pay that price. I make a lot of circle cookies ahead of time and I keep them in my freezer. And then when I have a big order, I bring them out. I actually individually seal each of them in a cello bag, put them in a Tupperware container and store them. And then when I'm ready to use those cookies, I actually defrost them. I bring the Tupperware container out, let it come to room temperature. And then I know it's a waste of cello bags, I'm sorry. But then I just open the cello bags again. When I seal the cello bags, a little trick is I seal at the very, very, very end. And then when I cut them open, I leave enough space that I can reuse that bag and I put them back in the cello bag and heat seal them closer to the cookie. That's why I have less cello bag waste, just as an FYI. But by pre-making them like that, you can, once they're defrosted, you can print right on that cookie that had been frozen. And believe it or not, you could actually put that cookie, once it's dry, cornstarch, if you needed to. You could actually refreeze it if you needed to. But typically, once I freeze it once, I don't freeze it again. So I'm going to bring us back over here. So we're going on another field trip. I'll take you a different way in my shop. So here's my other part of my shop. All right. Oh, you saw my thumb the whole time. Sorry. All right. We're back over here. Hopefully I don't break anything as I'm over here. So you can kind of see the difference between the two cookies, not a whole lot. This is one that I actually printed last week. This is the one printed now. It's still a little wet. But I just put them under a fan when I dry them, which allows it to keep that sheen. And the prints stay really good. So the print lasts a really, really, really long time. So questions about anything? I'm going to come back here and come back to me. So I think I do it this way. There we go. So I can now see you and I can see your questions. So I'm gonna go over one more time some of the supplies we used. I didn't talk to you about this. I used a deep pink color for this. And then I used the lilac and just a touch of purple for that. And then this one was egg yellow. And all of those were from Americolor. And like Amy said yesterday, for these darker colors, so I don't get color saturation, I will let the darker colors like the green, or I let the brown, I'll make them undercolored, and then I'll let them develop overnight into darker colors. So colors do develop over time, and so anything that's a darker shade, I also give it time to develop and to give it to saturate. So lots of different ways that you could use. I've got things thrown all over the place. Lots of different things that you can use with this for. You can create lots of different options for this. This is kind of dry. It dries pretty quick. So this is the final cookie that we made. Super cute. A lot of good detail. The royal icing transfers adds a little bit of detail, so it's not just a big clunky cookie. Pretty simple. Just some information about me. Let's see, I'm gonna put all of this in the chat, but this is my website, drsusiesweets.com. I don't know if it's reversed or not, it might be. And then this is information about my cookie society. I do have a sweet society, so right now I'm doing a founding member fee. So for $20 right now through the end of July, you can become a founding member. And as a founding member, you keep your $20 a month. And then in August, the monthly fee for the society is going to go up to $25. So now is your chance to get in at good pricing for that. And like I said, each month I will do 6 designs with 4 sizes of STL files that go for each design. So I have a mini, which is a 2.5 inch, all the way up to a large, which is 4 inch. So that comes with all of those 6 designs. And then usually I have an extra set. This last month, it was my fairy paper doll. So you got a 6-inch fairy paper doll with a lot of different outfits that went with her. But usually I'll do an extra set, which is an interactive set of some kind, or we'll have maybe a mystery bag that goes with it. So usually you'll get quite a bit for the $20. And I'm hoping as the society evolves to add some tutorials on there. But if you don't want to join the society, each month on my website, like I said, on my shop, I do freebies. So I give away a few free designs and STL files. And if you don't have a 3D printer, then I can print cutters as well. I have lots of 3D printers as well. So hopefully you learned some things today. I went a little bit quicker than I thought. I apologize, Melinda. I wanted to fill up the whole hour and a half, but it looks like I'm like an hour and 15 minutes. But does anybody, let me see, questions? Maybe I can look and see if anybody has any questions. I was trying to look through. I will go back if you have any questions. I'm going to copy and paste a comment right now, which is thanking you as well as giving you the code to use. Oh, Denise, you said, John heard the blue cycle. I heard you, Kelly. Kathy, you joined last week. Thank you, Denise. I'm glad you joined the society last week. So it's going to be a fun group of people. I hope it becomes something where we can all engage with one another and connect with one another. But again, after, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. I go on Zooms all the time and FaceTime calls with people to answer questions, especially questions about the blue. It is an amazing, amazing machine, and I do work full-time, and I do cookie full-time. I say that on both ends, and having the blue has helped me grow my business tremendously. It's helped me reach an audience that the corporate world, as well as others that I didn't think I was going to be able to reach, and it also allows me to do last-minute orders. So I can get a last-minute order of 100 cookies, and no problem. I can just dip them and print them, and they're out the door. So it's a good way to add if you're any edible printer. I mean, any edible printer is a good way to add. So you can print this set on icing sheets and adhere it to your cookie. You can print it on another edible printer, because I did make a 4.5-inch size, or you can go all in, which I like, go big or go home. And you guys know everything's bigger in Texas, so you want the big cookies. So I like the ability to print on big cookies. So thank you again for following along. I am so glad I got to spend some time with all of you today, and I hope you had a little cookie joy along the way. Thanks, everyone.